What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. Now, listen, I know. I see the title. Everybody like, yeah, let's strap in. Make sure you got your popcorn, all that. Listen, I've been waiting for this for a really long time. Waiting for my When Daybreak reactions. These were some of like my favorite. This is like my favorite SCP story of all time. However, these videos are really long, and I like usually I would do them on stream, but I don't do SCPs on stream anymore. And so I want to get back into these. And depending on like how this video performed, you know what I'm saying, make sure you like, make sure you comment, you know what I'm saying, let me know that y'all want more of this, and we'll do the next one, because I you know what I'm saying, there's a lot, you know what I'm saying, I've missed a lot, so we can really get this whole series. But this one, I did the most recent one just because 096 and Daybreak, are you serious? So this look like this is going to be crazy. Like I said, if you want more of this, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you let me know, Twitter, Instagram, follow me, all that. So yeah, bro, let's get straight into this, bro. SCP-096 When Daybreak. So I'm excited, bro. Yeah.
She wanna know where I be, she wanna know, yeah. Walking that bitch, designer all over my sleeve. Walking with slime, yeah. That nigga mad, cause she wanna leave with me. Show that she mine, yeah. I let her brag, I be fucking his bitch, she out her mind, yeah.
Whew. All right,
he was alone in the site that once contained him. He could remember that this place used to be full of scientists and agents. But now there is.
So what confused me about this art? First of all, shout out SCP Illustrator for animating the background, like the whole thing, like it's an animated picture. That's fired me. But what surprised me about this, or what's confusing, like why is he, like was he locked in his containment? All right, let me listen before I start asking questions all that. Y'all know how I get. I talk a lot.
Only the shadow of what the site was. The shadows are fleshy things that would just ignore him, and he would ignore them too.
They ignored him?
They were never looking at him or his face.
What?
He did not go outside. The outside scared him more than anything. He was scared of the outside, not because
So wait, the flesh can't consume him? Wow, okay.
Become one of these shadows, but because he had the horrible feeling that someone would look at him, at his body, at his face. He also knew it would not be a person that was looking at him. It would be the sun, and he would not be able to do a single thing about it. The idea of going outside at night was an option, but he was still too scared. Besides, he had no reason to go outside. Inside the site, he was alone. There was no one to look at him. He was free to cry alone in the darkness. It was like a paradise for him. Then one day he was sobbing alone, like every other day, when he heard a voice. The voice of a woman. He could hear the woman asking for help and food. Through the sound of the sobbing, he heard her come closer. He could hear the voice begging for help as she approached little by little. When she arrived in the room with him, she screamed in fear, terrified by the crying pale monster that was sobbing in the corner of the room. Surprised by the scream, he turned around. He could see the woman, as well as a small child holding her.
Wait, 096 turned to look? That's cheating, ain't it? If he looking at you, does it still count? I don't think it counts.
Hand. The woman was looking directly at him, and directly at his face. He could feel the anger, an emotion that he had not felt in a long time. He screamed so loudly that the woman fled in panic, leaving the child that was holding her hand alone.
What?
He could feel the anger boiling again.
Nah, that's
The woman
fucked,
seized
bro.
her chance to run through the hallway of the site and into the stairs. As the anger subsided, he realized. She looked at his face.
His face. His face. My face.
His hunting instinct rang out again. He could tell that she was running on the floor beneath him. He raised his arms above his head and started punching the ground of the dilapidated site, sinking his claws into the cracked floor. He drove them deeper and deeper until it gave way. He jumped into the newly formed entry and rushed in the direction of his target. He charged through wall after wall, clearing a path to get to his prey faster, concrete shattering and rebar twisting in his frantic rush. The woman continued running. She looked over her shoulder to see the monster catching up to her more and more. While she looked back, she failed to realize that she was outside. She swore, knowing her fate. At that moment, her body started melting.
Damn.
Beginning with her head, her nose dropped off her face, hitting the ground with a splashing sound.
Oh my god.
One of her eyes
bro.
popped out of her skull, leaving the eye hanging on a single stringy vein. She tried to move to the refuge of the shadow, but her legs were already decomposed into so much red flesh mud. She screamed in pain, until her mouth melted too. The monster looked furiously at the dying prey, stolen from him. After the painful death of his target, he continued sobbing, like always. He was interrupted by the sound of another human, Not from the woman, now a shadow like the rest, but from behind him. He turned back. The little girl that had been holding the woman's hand was standing in front of him. The girl was crying and calling the name of her mother. When she finished rubbing her eyes, she opened them and looked in the direction of the pale monster, directly at his face. Nothing. Nothing? She clearly looked directly at his face, but he did not feel angry. He was confused. He approached the child to make sure of what he had just witnessed. Sure, he and the child clearly made eye contact, but the girl did not see the face. This little girl was blind.
Oh my... No, what?
The girl was still crying and asking for help. She assumed there was someone else with her since she heard the sound of crying. She approached the sound by lifting her arms to make sure she would not bump into something else. Once she touched the monster, she said with a tiny and innocent voice, "Mummy." These simple words touched the monster. He thought he would only feel sadness and anger for the rest of his life. But these words changed everything. With this realization, the confusion turned to happiness. He looked at the little girl.
Man, fuck all this. Fuck all the hugging, all the sweet shit, all the... How in the world has the Foundation not found out if you're blind, you can look at this man? Unless this is totally uncanon and it don't make no sense. That's had to be what it is. Cause no way we ain't figure out a blind person. You know what I mean? What in the world?
To make sure that she was real, and he slowly surrounded the girl with his long arms to hug her. The girl, who was searching for hope, accepted this hug and hugged him back. The crying of both the monster and the little girl stopped. They lived together. The monster found a friend, and the little girl found a guardian. When the monster was interacting with the girl, he felt human. He was treated like an animal in his cell, like a monster. Nobody could think that there was a heart inside that ruthless killer. For the first time, he found someone that could understand him. The girl too was happy with the monster. She didn't know what he looked like, but she knew what he really was. He was a surprisingly good parent. He would protect the girl at any cost. The monster would even bring food, most of the time scavenged from other survivors. On one occasion, the girl tripped on a metal beam. The monster was so furious he destroyed the beam as he would kill any other prey. He took the beam between his long fingers and slammed it into the wall in front of him, screaming furiously until the wall collapsed. Afterward, there was nothing left of the beam, and the girl seemed happy about it. The girl had total confidence in the monster, confidence he shared. Nothing could stop them.
That's so cute.
The only thing that ever bothered them was the flesh shadows. The things tried to make prey of the little girl, trying to push her into the brightness of the sun by imitating the sound of her mother, or trying to simply kill her themselves. But every time the shadows became a nuisance, the pale monster would swiftly correct them. They couldn't approach the girl. Even the deceptive voice of the flesh creatures wouldn't reach the girl through the screams of the monster. The monster protected the girl, no matter what. There was only that one day, that one single moment that destroyed everything. The monster and the girl were playing around with the rubble of the site. He had a bad feeling, looking back at the little girl only to see she was not near him anymore. He looked all around him. She was not there. He left the room only to see the little girl walking towards the entrance. She was 2 feet from it, 2 feet from outside where she would meet the sunlight. The little girl was following the voice of the Shadow Man, but this one wasn't imitating the sound of her mother. Its voice was that of the crying monster. He was far from the entrance. He ran so fast, faster than he would track prey. The girl didn't stop. She was still following his false twin's voice. He was so close to stopping her, but she was already outside when he arrived. The little girl screamed in pain as one of her arms began to melt. The monster made a choice. Without hesitation, he left the building to confront the sun. He too began to melt, but it wouldn't matter. He got above the little girl and blocked the sunlight that had been melting her. The pain was immeasurable, but it wouldn't matter. So long as he protected the girl, he knew he would not survive. He just hoped that the girl would. The monster dragged her back into the site while blocking any sunlight from reaching her. She was unconscious and her left arm was missing. The melting of his body didn't stop. He knew he would become one of these flesh things soon. He took a final look at the girl and shed a single tear. The tear landed on the arm of the child, and by miracle, the melting stopped. He ran as fast as he could away from the site to make sure he would not harm the child. He only stopped when his legs were entirely melted. He could not see the site anymore, but he could now look upon the sea. He laid on his back and looked one last time at the sun, placed just above the ocean. He looked on as his eyes melted. He gave a long, powerful scream that could be heard from a mile away, a scream so powerful it dragged the dust off the ground, carrying it far into the distance. A scream of sadness, mixed with anger. Then the scream stopped, leaving the silence behind. A dead silence. And that concludes SCP-096's story in the When Day Breaks universe. I hope you enjoyed this video and be sure to like and subscribe if you did. The When Day Breaks storyline has now passed the halfway point of the first act me and Sumerian are building. We are now working towards the grand finale. We have most of our characters and storylines established. It's time to start tying things up. More When Day Breaks in February. I've got 3 big videos planned between now and then. You're going to love them. Massive thank you to all the amazing...
They did my boy dirty. I ain't gonna lie, for a second there I thought I was about to cry because I thought something way worse was gonna happen. I mean, that's kind of what I expect, like, predicted would happen. Like, that's more, like, you know what I mean? They really, wow. And the fact that he protected her, just for her to die for real, if you think about it. Like, she's not gonna be a survivor. She's blind. She don't got a left hand no more. They're just gonna imitate the way it's her mom or something, and she's gonna fall for it. Gosh, man. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really do. Like I said before, if you want more of this, let me know in the comments. Comment we want more. Comment do more. Like the video. Share it, bro. Join the Discord. Let me know that you want it. Put in video suggestions. Join the Reddit. Let me know. I really, you know what I'm saying? But, gosh, man. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all in the next one. The next SCP video, bro. Fuck, bro. That's so sad.